Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Beyond the Barclay with me, Jez Davies. I'm, of course, joined with the coolest man in Dereham, Morgan Hewitt. Hello, Mr. Hewitt. How are you?
I am actually really cool because it feels like it's dipped straight into autumn.
Yeah. It's been quite windy today, isn't it? I walked out my house and nearly blew down the road. It was that windy. So it's I can't. You say it was raining as well, right?
Yeah, it's been miserable here today. So never mind.
Yes, indeed. So talk to us a little bit about commentary at the weekend. What were your thoughts?
I mean, disappointing to obviously have the last minute equaliser, but I still think there's, as players, I said to you earlier today, actually, it's like so much churn, and I still think that it's going to take time to kind of really work itself out. I mean, I still think we're a lot. The best thing is, don't flop like any pressure that's applied. We don't, concede like we did last season, like a piece of wet tissue. So there's that. But I'm still, it's just scoring, isn't it? And I don't really understand. And I still don't understand how we bring in some of the new players like Swartau. Obviously, because it's great to see Chris Garden score, but I don't know if he's out injured now, is he? Or
I don't know. I think they obviously got the press conference tomorrow, so I guess we'll find out more. But I'm with you. I think I would have taken a draw at the start. Commentary have had a really good start to the season, but I think it would have been daylight robbery if we'd actually gone away with 3 points, but that happens in football sometimes, doesn't it? So, look, Morgan, I'm going to hand over to you to intro our guest today. I know you'll do an excellent job of that. So, over to you.
I'll try to. Right. So we've got George Hume on the podcast, or AKA Georgie Hume, and of the Pity Party fame. So me and George go back quite some time, don't we, mate?
We do, yeah.
It's
been a while, Morgan. It's the first time we've spoken a little while. I'm glad it's like this.
Yeah. So it's great to have you on, because obviously you're a lifelong Norwich fan, and I guess for all of our 5 guests, could you want to just tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do, and how did you end up supporting Norwich?
Well, thanks for the introduction. I'm a full-time musician, and I have my own little group called Georgie Hume, the Pity Party, which I launched a couple of years ago. And this year we've got our record coming out, self-titled. And this is kind of good timing because we're releasing a single on Friday, September 19th, and then the record's coming out on 10th of October. But I'm from Norfolk. I was born in Great Yarmouth, and I grew up in that sort of Yarmouth, Galston area. And I moved to London in about 2006. But always loved football and always followed Norwich. And so it's funny how you follow football changes over the years, doesn't it, with social media and stuff. And I guess a lot of how I follow Norwich now is through maybe Instagram or podcasts and stuff like this. And actually, I saw you've just had your 100th episode. Congratulations!
Nice little link back to the podcast like that. Thank you, George.
Welcome.
We did. Yeah, we did. And it sort of coincided with our first birthday. We've actually got a special episode coming out in a few weeks with a few of our sort of previous guests and me and Morgan mucking around at the Bridewell Museum in Norwich. And thanks to the guys for allowing us to use that as a venue. Sorry, Morgan, go.
I just want to quickly give a shout out. Sorry, George. Just to I should have been more prepared for this.
I want to say Ella Henderson. It's not, is it? It's something Henderson. Hannah.
I can't find it. Hang on.
This will go out as is, by the way, George. We don't change anything on this podcast.
Okay. Slightly terrifying.
So,
got a long way to go.
I want to give a shout out to Isabel Bringham's brother and dad. Thank you for listening to our podcast from York. So there you go.
Thanks,
Shows,
guys.
doesn't it? Strength of a good podcast. Listen to it. Where are your furthest listeners? I'm sure you go international.
Yeah, so I would say the gentleman who we had on in July from Australia.
Oh wow!
He was brilliant. Lee, he's actually manages a vineyard out in Australia and moved out there a number of years ago. So obviously he's built a family over there and stuff, but obviously still follows Norwich and was talking about the sort of the challenges of supporting a club in a different time zone, and particularly that's so far flung. He's having to get up like 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes to watch a game.
Yeah, God,
so
that's pretty wild. I've got a friend actually who moves over there. He said a similar thing. It's really, really difficult to stay on top of it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. But we've got and then the other way we've got Nick Dye, who's a football coach in America, in the USA. It's great. And I think, Morgan, one of your points about it is, we until we started this process, yes, we're aware there's fans all around the globe, but it's so nice speaking to those people and hearing about their experiences, and particularly when they come back to Carrow Road as well, and how the club treat them in a positive way. So it's really good. It's nice to hear. But I think sort of moving back to yourself then. So perhaps if you'd just like to talk to us about maybe your earliest memory of following Norwich.
Well, it's full disclosure. I had to, if you don't mind, I had to actually do a little bit of internet research I knew what my earliest memory was, but I didn't actually know the date. So I did take a few moments before we went live to just sort of fact check some of these thoughts that I had. And I do think that my earliest Norwich memory was watching the semi-final defeat to Sunderland in 1992, I believe that was. I've got that written down somewhere. And yeah, it was on this 5th of April, 1992. And I remember it was on TV, and I watched it with my dad. And I remember being heartbroken that we'd lost because it'd been this huge thing in our house. My dad wasn't particularly a big football fan, actually, but he was just very supportive in seeing that I was playing for my sort of Cub team and then the local kind of Goulston side at that time. I was a goalkeeper as well.
Right.
I was, yeah. Which is alright because I was one of the young. My birthday's in August. So I was one of the youngest of the year, so I was one of the shortest at the time as well. But I just think no one else wanted to do it. It was just a way to be in the team. But
yeah,
ironic considering what I do for a living now. I was just sort of standing there trying to fend off, because you're at that age and people are shooting for sort of 3 or 4, yards, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that was my first, and then actually the first ever game I went to was just under a year later. I went to see that following season. I think which was the first season of the Premiership. I was at that. I think it was quite a legendary game. Actually, was when we played Villa and John Polston scored that header in the 81st minute. And yeah, I remember that, and that was a night game actually. That sort of changed my. It's funny, like sort of childhood things that happen. I still to this day I still sort of much prefer going to games in the evening, just because of the atmosphere and the lights. Yeah. And I do genuinely believe, and even time I go to see, and I must admit I don't go as many Norwich games as I'd like, and they are mainly kind of London away games. And Saturdays are kind of difficult for me because I'm usually playing. But that sort of feeling of walking in and seeing the lights, it does take you back to being, I must have been, 8 or 9 or something, And then I think 1993 was actually the year for me when it comes to my Norwich sort of fan. Because a couple of months later, the local team I was with, we actually, through a contact, ended up being ball boys at a game. Wow. Yeah, which was incredible. Same season, we played Leeds and we won 4-2. I remember that. Do you remember Rod Wallace, who was like a midfielder for Leeds? He swore at me, actually, as a 9-year-old. Yeah, it's quite something, yeah. Give me the effing ball back. Yeah, quite incredible. But I remember the kid that set it all up. It was a contact through his dad, and he was notoriously always late, for games, and he was even late for this. And so he was so late they couldn't even put him in the official tracksuit they'd throw you. And I really lucked out with my best mate at the time, and we just bolted out down the halfway line, and I went one way.
Oh,
football team
One
that
second.
had set. Oh, should we do it now?
Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he turned up late, and the only position left was in front of the travelling Leeds fans. You know, they've got quite a reputation. You know.
Yeah.
And he came in, and it was unbelievable. He was just covered in like spittle, and like it was all over him on the back. And God, I felt so sorry for him. I thought, that's what happens in football if you're late, isn't it? Look at disciplinary action, or. But yeah, that was that, and then obviously through that, then I think it would have been the same year, but the following season, that's when the European season happened. And,
great.
And to link on to one of the questions, I mean, I'm sure you must hear this one a lot. It's quite a famous one, but I think my favourite memory will always be the Jeremy Goss volley against Munich. Yeah, I remember just like probably my first experience of seeing like European football on TV, and just how it's not being able to put that into any context as a kid, but just thinking how different it looked and the size of the occasion, and the Olympic Stadium out there were like it just looked insane. And so that was probably my favorite. It probably still is actually. I found myself this afternoon looking at YouTube clips of that. I was just like, just how he connects with it, like it was just a punt up the field, isn't it? The Munich defender sort of knocks it back, and then really, really fun stuff. Really fun memories.
It's funny actually because I've mentioned this before, but I think that image of Jeremy Goss shooting the volley, great photo, and they've captured it really well. But you're right, you've got. It might have been Lothar Matthäus, but I don't know. The defender's like looking back, isn't he? As if
that's right.
That's going in. But I think that's the most iconic Norwich City image of all time. That image of Jeremy Goss.
Oh yeah, because he's both feet are off the ground, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I end up in a bit of a sort of wormhole after that, because there's someone who put a compilation of other sort of absolute screamers that Jeremy Goss had done, and I forgot about that one he did at Liverpool in front of the Kop.
Yeah. Well, that was actually the last goal ever scored at the Kop, but in front of the old Kop. So
really?
I want to do that.
Yeah, so that was when they not demolished it, but when they put seating in, that was the last, because it was at the end of the season, last game of the season. So if that question ever comes up, who was the last player to score in front of the old Kop? Jeremy Goss, Norwich City.
Pub quiz.
Well, that's a good one.
Definitely.
Also, that they were the first team to beat them in the stadium, weren't they? I think that's a bit more.
In the old, the first English team, to beat them in the old Olympic Stadium, first and last.
Yeah,
I feel like that might be the first kind of pub quiz question to get you rolling, whereas the Jeremy Goss one might be a little later in,
Yeah,
definitely. There we go.
So I guess going in, sort of getting your bread and butter hat on. If you could write a Norwich City goal score, what would it sound like? And can you give us a feeling of the flavour? Because the goal music that we currently have is the samba music that's been there forever. Okay. So what would you do? What would you rustle up?
Can I just interrupt really quickly, Morgan? Because they changed that for about 4 games one season, and it was the music they play at the darts when the players walk out. Which is Planet Funk, Chase the Sun, by the way. They played that. So they it's a great song, but they changed it to that, and there was a massive uproar, and they were like, "Now we want samba back."
Really?
I just thought I'd add that before.
Okay.
Before George on.
What you're trying to say, Jez, someone has attempted to change it.
Yeah, but then obviously
failed miserably.
They changed it with a song that at the time people didn't want. So you might actually come up with something brilliant, and they go, "Get off samba." We'll have Georgie Hume in the Pity Party song. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, I tried to. Not that I'd want one of my own songs on there. I mean, it's not a lot to sing along to, but being instrumental clearly. But I do like the idea of the more sort of Latin-inspired things. But I must be honest, I haven't been completely prepared for this question. As what have been some of your other suggestions? Was this the first question?
First time I asked it.
Oh, first time I asked it.
Yeah. You've got the you've got the honour of having this as the first question. Yeah. And it could be just any song, really, any song that you like. It doesn't have to be one. I think Morgan said, what would be your flavour? But any song that you could think of in the past that might.
I think some serious white boy funk, George.
Oh, you mean like kind of like some yacht rock kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what, like maybe like some Eagles or something like that, or sort of. I think maybe like, I sometimes when you've got that party atmosphere at Carrow Road, I mean, I think some kind of like, real simple kind of disco, maybe some Chic, Celebrate, Good Times. Like a load of blokes from sort of like rural Norfolk, just like, listening to really camp disco. I really like the idea of that. It's incredible. Get everyone going together, brilliant.
You'll be suggesting YMCA next.
I don't know. I don't know about you, but whenever I hear that, I just can't get past Trump and that image of him dancing to that now. Whenever I see that, I don't sort of got a political sort of thing, but I saw that the other day. It's popped up. He does that same sort of dance every time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'd say something quite joyous, upbeat, and maybe something a bit funky for Carrow Road.
What about a previous incarnation you were in? What about Leaving the House by Foreign Office? I still listen to those great songs.
Oh, thank you.
I sent them to Jez.
Very good.
This would have been over 10 years ago, with 12 years ago, with a friend of mine, Paul Cousins, who does a lot of music still himself, a lot more kind of ambient stuff. He's doing really well. It's really fantastic. Check it out, and for your listeners. And but we had a band together. And, we basically kind of had like trying to be a bit like kind of Talking Heads. And we did all right, a few releases and stuff. But I don't know. Do you think sort of slightly angular post-punk would go down well with the Barclay?
No, there'd be some serious raised eyebrows. I think.
Maybe just play that if it was a 0-0. I mean, that could just come out half time if it was 0-0. Try to.
I mean, do they still play Right Here, Right Now by Fatboy Slim, Jez, when the players come out?
I think they play it as one of the songs at the start. It's all very much. George mentioned earlier on the night games, but now they do this massive like laser light show, don't they, with all the floodlights and stuff before, and it's very much the music's very much linked into that. So it's sort of like your acid German techno house pop that goes around the stadium and stuff. And
I've noticed that, they sort of the football stadiums can get a bit more trancey regards in the sort of those night games. Like you think, God, who's signing this off? Like, it's like it's kids there. It's like really, really aggressive. God, if you hear it in like Bergheim or something, sort of. So yeah. But anyway, my vote would be something nice and easy, bit of Chic, Great Hits or something. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Some upstroke guitar. Yeah, love it.
Nile Rodgers, yeah.
I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, Crystal Palace use Glad All Over, which is Dave someone or other's band from it's a song from like the 60s basically, but it's obviously like historic. But Jean-Philippe Mateta, when he scores, they play "Boom Boom Boom" by Venga Boys, because that's what the fans that's what the fans sing about him. So
interesting. Is that when he's is that when he's pummeling the corner flag?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I think obviously I went last year when we played him in the cup, and it was like whoever scored first, they didn't play Venga Boys then, but when Mateta scored that overhead kick from the edge of the box, it was like boom, boom, and everyone was like, oh, the Palace fans we were sort of like looking the other way, the Norwich fans. But it's interesting. Isn't it?
Was that the 4-0 loss, or was that the season with the cup?
It was 4-0, wasn't it? Yeah.
I was at that game actually.
Yeah, Mark Goey never got out. Was it Goey? However you pronounce his surname, never got out of second gear.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah, bloody hell. It was a really sweet moment. Actually, a really close friend of mine. He took his son for his first game, and he texted me saying, "Oh, you're going to love this." And I got there, met them at the station. He's got the full kit on, the socks all the way up to the knees. So he said, "Oh, he wanted to put his boots on," And he just, it was like a sort of passing of the torch, like sort of you said he remembered his first game, and it was really sweet, I think he was a ginormous John Sargent fan, and I don't think he started actually. I think he was on the bench.
Yeah, he was.
Towards the end, but
there we are. Okay, so how did supporting Norwich City influence you growing up?
Well, I had to be quite sort of quietly confident at school, if I'm honest. Although I grew up in Norfolk, I was one of a small minority that was a Norwich fan. It was. I mean, I guess it's generational. I speak to people that are 10 years older than me, and they say the same thing. Everyone at their school is a Liverpool fan. But it was all Man United. Everyone was Man United. You might have a couple of kids. Mate of mine, his dad was from Liverpool, so he supported Liverpool. But the majority were Man United. So every weekend, every Monday morning, having people saying how bad Norwich were. I sort of stuck to my guns a little bit actually, and mainly because of sort of they used to kind of influence sort of football schools. It was like a Peter Mendham football school. I remember we used to go to that quite a bit. And Sammy Morgan, he was like my dad actually went to school with him, but he did like a local football school in the area. So I used to go to that, and but yeah, and do you know what? And there were times, when I flirted with the idea of thinking, maybe it's hard enough sort of having like a sort of big mop of curly hair back in the 90s. It's like, God, it can make my life a bit easier if I supported someone else. And I did flirt with the idea of maybe going off and supporting someone else. But I'm actually really glad I did it, not because of I follow Norwich and I love Norwich so much, but I'm sure you must feel this as well. When you travel, you meet different people. Like, when you say you're a Norwich fan, and I was thinking about this, there's only been a couple of times where there's ever been any sort of hostile reaction. The most time, it's quite a warm embrace being a Norwich fan, because I think people have got a bit of quite, I've met so many fans who different clubs, especially in London. I love going up to Norwich for an away game because there's the pubs. It's quite accessible. I know it's out on its own, and to link into one of the questions actually, I do remember being away somewhere. I think I was in the States, and I wasn't actually watching a Norwich game, but it was just something that happened to be on. And I got talking to this English guy at the bar, and he was from Leeds, and he said, I don't care who you support as long as it's not Norwich. Right, this would have been about 2012 to 2013, and it was that period where we basically took their whole midfield.
I remember.
It was like Snodgrass, Bradley Johnson, Johnny Howson.
Johnny Howson,
and Becchio, obviously, lest we forget.
Becchio,
And I thought, and I remember thinking to myself, it's the first time. I mean, admittedly, I haven't walked into Ipswich wearing a Norwich shirt, but I thought to myself, wow, and I sort of meet football fans now, and I've got a mate that's a Southampton fan. He says a similar sort of thing actually. Like you never sort of. Whereas I feel like if you're a Leeds fan or maybe a Liverpool fan, you're not a fan, you kind of a lot of time you are walking into a certain sense of hostility, or even with Arsenal or Tottenham to a certain extent. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Maybe... I have. Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned a few times on this show. I was in California, in Los Angeles, just hanging out on I think near Sunset Strip or something like that. I can't remember. I was wearing do you remember that white version of the Egg and Crest shirt we had with the fund on it?
Was that the away strip? Was that a third strip at the time?
Third shirt, yeah, because the away strip for that season was black with the green and yellow stripes down the side. And these two guys from Canada came up to me and were like, you're how do they say it? Norwich. They say it like Norwich. Norwich. You're a Norwich fan. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, we work for Aviva over in Canada, and we're here for we're on holiday. And they started talking to me about the club and everything, and it was really fun. And they're like, come for a drink with us. I couldn't at the time, but there's been the odd occasion you've bumped into someone on holiday, and who had, it's like I said many times before, it's like being part of like a cult. It's like a little cult club. It's really not a little club, but it's like being part of a cult. And when you see someone with that shirt on it, or I don't know if you're on holiday in wherever, it's always like a bit of warmth there,
Would you, if you were say in LA and someone walked past you wearing the Norwich shirt, would you say something?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. It would, it was, because it's just, and I think what you're saying is right. Like, and I don't just mean disrespectfully to any Arsenal fans who listen to this, I'm sure they won't, but or Spurs, whatever. But I don't feel there's that same level of connectivity. If you know, if you see, if you see someone wearing an Arsenal shirt and you're an Arsenal fan as well, you're like, oh, whatever. You wouldn't. I don't think it has that same warmth to it. Maybe.
Yeah, I can feel that. I guess when you compare the size of Norfolk to the fact it's got one club, right?
Yeah.
Also, I've got to say, just a note on the kit, I think this season might be one of my favourites actually for a long time.
The home one.
Yeah, particularly the collar. It's kind of almost a bit of a heart back to that kit you mentioned actually. Did that have the collar? I know it's a different colour.
So the Norwich and Peterborough one had the collar, didn't it, back in the day? The one after the egg and crest had the which was a plain yellow, which I think the current kit's based on, essentially.
Yeah, it is. Okay. It is. I think so. It's a lovely kit. I've seen it in the flesh a few times. Really nice material. Yes, one of my favourites for a while.
Is it Joma? Is that how you pronounce it?
Joma,
yeah. It's them again, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think the other kits are nice. I quite like. I'm actually wearing the green one now underneath this hoodie. The pink ones I think is nice as well. So I think they've really hit home this year on the kits. It's and I think they said that the club or someone said that Barclay, who are our kit sponsor this year, who obviously make the clothing, they actually had a little bit of an involvement in it this year.
Oh really? Okay, that's interesting.
It's good, and I think it's interesting. The story of how they come to decide the kits really, because they'll always have about 6 or 7. I remember when I used to work for Stevenage Football Club previously, and I walked into the office there once, and they had about 6 or 7 on a rail of shirts that were proposed as their away kit. It was interesting just seeing that process really in full flow, and this was in January as well. So it's not like they decide 2 weeks before it comes out. It's obviously a continual process.
Yeah, it is. You didn't think of that, especially with some of the things they release. You think, well, what do the other ones look like?
Yeah,
exactly.
I forgot what I was going to say then. It's gone. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but it's a nice one. Kit related. So
I guess just kind of going back to what you do and what your history as a touring musician. So you travelled the world as a touring musician. You can tell us a little bit about that as well, because they're great stories. But how do you also keep up with Norwich City news?
Well, the touring thing, I mean, that was specifically for a very kind of a period of time, really between 2014 up to about 2019, 2018. Okay. That was someone I was spending a lot of time in the States, and that was with a particular artist who was American but was living in London. And he played in quite a successful American band called Vampire Weekend, and his name was Chris Bayo. Yeah, and still going now. Fantastic band, yeah. And he released a couple of records, or 3 records actually. It's a shame one of the tours didn't happen because of COVID, but it was an incredible experience, sort of traveling to and from, and really got to see parts of America that lots of people don't know. That basically the big bit in the middle, really. And it was interesting because Chris, he liked football, but he grew up a ginormous ice hockey fan. So he had that. He had that same thing. I'm sure you've met people like that before, where although you don't love the same sport, you still love the whole aspect of that. So in the way that he'd be looking up the New York Rangers kind of possible transfer news or trades, I think it's trades, or was that baseball? I can't remember. I'd be sort of following Norwich as well. And at that time, I mean, I would try and seek out sort of games in the bigger cities, like I went to see a game in New York once, I remember, which was a bit easier, but somewhere if you're in Arkansas or like kind of, Kansas can be a little bit more tricky. But up to today, I mean, I follow. I mean, I'm pretty standard. I don't want a bit of the BBC app, and if I want to go a little bit deeper on some of the things, I'll dive into a couple of podcasts, or I try to look at the Pinker, but I don't know do you need to have some kind of subscription to view that online?
Yeah, I think so. I think so now. It's you have to subscribe to. It's like the Athletic is behind a paywall as well. I think, which
I've been tempted by that. Sorry,
go on.
I've seen because the Athletic. A lot of friends are on the Athletic. They say really good things actually about the sort of quite contemporary sort of style of football kind of reporting, and they do some crazy deals, don't they? And I thought actually, maybe stop being a bit tight and maybe go for it. But I mean, have you joined up for any of those? Are you on the Athletic or
not me? No, I'd be honest. Like, not that it doesn't interest me. I think you're right. I think there is some really good articles on, and people post them, don't they, on socials and go, oh, look at this, it's great. And then you get there and it's like, oh, you've got to pay a subscription of whatever it is a month. And then you're tied into a set amount of months or whatever. But no, it's not that I've ever seen really. I mean, a lot of the stuff I do is the same as you. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't now, just because this one takes up a lot of the time. So,
it's a bit too close to home, I imagine. Yeah.
Well, it is, but at the same time, like, it is good hearing some of the other ones. But they all do a fantastic job. The reason I always say to Morgan, the reason I do this is really selfish. I just do it to talk to Norwich fans. It's if one person listens, it's good news. But it's for me, it's just I sit here and just chat, shoot the breeze about Norwich City, and I've got my wingman that comes along for the ride as well. So,
it's lovely.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. But no, so no, not in a nutshell, not for me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when we do this, I to be honest, I tend to use the social media aspect like Instagram and the Pinkin Forum actually itself, which is actually where me and Jez first met. So
oh wow,
yeah. And so I tend to use the Pinkin Forum for most of my kind of like rumors or bits and pieces, and then someone will post a link to highlight reel or whatever, and that's how I get it. And obviously doing this podcast, we're quite close to stuff anyway. So as much as it's almost like I try to escape hearing about it is almost impossible now.
Okay. Yeah.
So but yeah, I mean that period of time between 2015 and 2018, 2019, you went through some interesting periods as a club, because obviously you had Alex Neil, and then Stuart came in, and then we had that incredible 18-19. I suppose, like, did that sort of inspire you to try and follow them more whilst you were away? Just how interesting the whole thing was.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did. I think that there was something definitely in that Alex Neil period that ignited a lot of kind of a love for a bit more from certain Norwich fans. I'm not going to every away game, and I'm not a season ticket holder, but they did feel a new energy around the club, and I felt mainly because of also the age that he was and his appointment. It felt like quite a daring kind of. I think I associate the time before that, and there was like Peter, and it's a bit before that, but like your Peter Grants and like Brian Hamilton, or just like. And that's quite a big gap, but do you know what I mean? There was had to be someone that had like an association with the club or played for Norwich, or like even further, like Bruce Rioch. I don't know. Did he play for Norwich? I would associate him with Arsenal, but
I don't think he did. But yeah.
But I was at I did go to the Middlesbrough playoff game actually, which was
brilliant.
Yeah, I saw you there.
Yeah, exactly. And was that? Did I see you as you come out of the station and you walk down the?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
with Ed, I think. Was it? Yeah,
it was with Ed, and then we sort of split it off and went, because we obviously sat in different areas.
I might correct me if I'm wrong, but that period kit I didn't mind. Was that I remember you had that. Was that the black one with the stripes with the Aviva?
No, it was. I didn't have that. It was the one with it was almost like it looked like Star Trek, like it had like green here, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it did.
It was black, wasn't it?
The away kit you're talking about, that was the away kit that year. So it was is black, and then sort of about here it just had a yellow and green line going all the way
That's
down.
right. Yeah.
But Morgan was right about the home kit that year, which was the sort of the green down to sort of your breastbone, I suppose. Which was it was quite a unique kit, that really, wasn't it? It was nice to see Jerome and Redmond score the goals there and send Middlesbrough home
in quite quick succession. I remember as well.
Yeah, it was about 3 or 4 minutes between both goals, and I mean the Redmond. I think we had about 20-25 passes before it actually hit the net. It was one of the best team goals I've actually seen. It happened to be in a playoff final. It was I mean,
did that came off the underside of the bar as well? Did it? I can't remember.
No, I think what it did was it hit the stanchion at the back, and it did make a nice sound. I remember that.
That would have been a little bit more Hollywood if it had, but yeah.
It was. Who was it that played the ball down the line? It was the Scottish right back at the end, wasn't it?
Whittaker.
No, it wasn't it? It was Whittaker, I think. He played the ball down the right hand side, and then obviously Redmond did the business, didn't he? It was super. I think Gary O'Neill was playing for us that day.
Yeah,
really?
he was.
Wow, God, yeah.
Yeah, we had some players. I think you look at the bench that day and you think, I don't ever remember him playing for us at that time. It was, I can't remember the names now, but if you look back at the names, you know what I mean. You don't associate with that playoff success, I suppose. But yeah, what a day that was to be a Norwich fan. Something we reminisce about quite a lot on here, as you can.
Yeah. So that would have been in that period, yeah. And it's. I mean, he's doing a hell of a job at Millwall, isn't he, old Alex Neil?
It's a good fit. It's a good fit for him, I think. I think he'll. There's a sort of a core group of about 5 or 6 teams that will fancy their chances this season. The unfancied ones that. And I don't mean any disrespect to those clubs, but perhaps at the start of the season they probably weren't thinking about playoffs. Well, now they can probably think about it a little bit. Millwall would be in that bracket.
I would say
Preston probably as well. To be honest, I think Preston have had a relatively good start, haven't they?
Their form going into the end of last season was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think is it Schumacher that's in charge there now? Not sure.
Preston.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not sure.
But I'm sorry, I was talking about Alex Neil and Millwall. Their sort of their results going into the end of last season.
Oh, sorry. You're right. Yeah, no, 100%. So just moving on then. So on the tours, have we done this one? We haven't, have we? On the tours, have you met any other Norwich City fans through random events and describe what happened?
Well, I'd say that would be the chap who was the Leeds fan. That would be the one that really stands out, if I'm honest. Yeah. I mean, it was just how he said it. And, I realised that he was being completely serious. And, I was like, oh, God.
Is that not a bit like when David Brent goes on and does his dates? Do you remember that episode where he goes on a date and he's ringing the woman in the car, isn't it? And she goes, "Oh, you're not that awful boss, are you?"
Is it The Office?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just reminds me a little bit of that because obviously he said, "Oh, you're not," because she said to you, "Oh, you're not an Norwich fan, are you?"
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, luckily I didn't have any shirts on, but I tried to laugh it off, and I thought, "Oh God, I can't pretend." So anyway, but yeah, I'd say that. And no, I can't really think of sort of meeting many Norwich fans in the wild over in the States, to be honest. I was thinking of. Did Pookie go over to the States?
You've been to
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Because there's actually quite a lot of Scandinavian. I think there's quite a large Finnish contingent out there. So from way back in the days. So
a lot of them it's moved over there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's back in Finland now, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what club he plays for, but I know he's back over there. Yeah. No, I think that probably just about covers that one, Morgan. So you can probably move on, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Morgan. I answered that one a little too early. I went off script there.
Don't worry, we're used to that.
Okay.
So tell us more about your pity party, and in comparison to the Norwich City Football Club pity party of the last few seasons. So tell us about your pity party and how you felt a lot.
Well, there's definite ups and downs, and both pity parties. But yeah, I mean, the project started really. I mean, funny, a Norfolk connection in 2021. I actually moved back to Norfolk because I was coming to a place I was living, and contract was coming up, and basically my whole year. I'm sure if you ever spoke to any musicians around that period, everyone was kind of saying the same thing. Space of 3 days, basically a whole year got cancelled. And I've been sort of in not too far from Stratford, actually, what we were discussing earlier. I was staying at a friend's place out in Leighton, and I've done it for a year or whatever, and I just thought, I'm going back now. So I moved back to my parents, and funny enough, that was almost the start of the pity party. Not in the fact that I was sat in my old bedroom that I had a kid playing guitar, but just like 30 years old or whatever. But that's why I started writing these songs, and then when stuff started moving, kind of coming out of that, and places looking to have music again. A close friend of mine that owns a pub in Bethnal Green said, look, he's actually a big football fan himself, but he said, look, we don't show the football, we don't have a beer garden, but I want to try and get some music in there to try and keep people in the pub Saturday afternoons. It's called the Sun Tavern in Bethnal Green, and that almost became the home of the band, and still is. So we have a residency there every week, 4 till 6, and that's really how the band A came about, B has survived, and C, that's where we try to maintain 3 full-time musicians to have the time to practice and get together and rehearse. It's just not going to happen. So we do a lot of the stuff on the gigs. So that's how it really started. So he said, he said to me, he actually said to me, do you know anyone? Right, which is the joke. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I might be able to put something together. So I did. So I had these tunes that I'd written in Norfolk over that period. Came back to London, and he said, we need to put a flyer out or something out on the socials. I need a name like in the next 10 minutes. And so I just thought, well, Georgie Hume, the pity party. And I never thought it would stick, so it's quite a tongue twister when you sort of repeat it, especially when you have to type it all the time as well, So, yeah, it just stuck. And then we released, it's very different. There's so much involved now. I have a lot of musician friends that have released one thing and then never done it again. And I actually understand that a lot more than I did a few years ago because of everything that's involved. I'm sure you might hear musicians complain about this before, but you write a song, you put it together, you go to the studio, you record it. That's just the start. Like now you're expected to be like a content creator, be able to design a website, be a social media guru across multiple platforms, right? And then working at when's the best time to post, and be expected to really post 3 or 4 times a week, because if not, you're not going to get any traction. People are going to forget. And that's before you've even gone out and performed said songs that you've written, right? And then when you do, I'm in it for the love, as you can tell, but it can be quite a lot. But with that in mind, also that's affected how music is released. It used to be that you just kind of release an album and put it out. That was all you hope, and just take it and see what happens. Whereas because of the algorithm with Spotify, people now release. You must have seen that trend. People just release one song, and that is all based on trying to get on Spotify playlists. Because with every release that you do, you can only put forward one song to be considered for Spotify playlists. And if you get on some kind of playlist, that could be the difference, really.
Yeah.
So back in last year, we started kind of trickling some songs, and then finally the album's coming out in October. And the song that I have coming out on the 19th of September is a big one because it's the first physical release, and that in itself has been a complete journey. That you have to deal with it. Well, I've used a company that do all this, but it gets sent to the Czech Republic. That's where they still press a lot of the vinyl for the European market. Yeah. So I've had that's all been designed, and then we're doing a string of dates. I mean, I wouldn't really call quite particular about what I think is a tour and what isn't, and I don't think a tour is sort of 3 dates. So that's why I called it the Pity Party Long Weekender. So we're doing a Thursday in London, Friday in Norwich, and then we are on our way back going to do a gig in a place called Leon C in near Southend, which is a great little club out there called Green Bottle. So yeah, and it's going all right. I've got to say, I'm quite surprised. I mean, it's very humble. I mean, it is. It's an instrumental guitar trio, so we won't be at the UEA anytime soon. But the Holloway that we're playing in Norwich is 50 capacity. playing a great place called the Green Note in London and Camden, which actually sold out last year. We're returning there, and ticket sales have been a little slow to start, but we've picked up this week. So, and that's another thing. I mean, I don't know if you were to do a ticketed event for your podcast, which I'm sure you could later down the line, you will feel this. Trying to get people to buy tickets for anything is an absolute nightmare. And it's changed the way that I would do things. I would always be on this, but I'll just get something on the door, or I'll do it the night before. But yeah, so it's hugely enjoyable, and I feel like I'd come to this place of my guitar playing where I really need to do something different, and I've fallen in love with the instrument again. But I didn't quite anticipate how much would be involved. Everything needs, because you're essentially doing a separate release for every single song.
I mean, I'm grinning because the parallels with everything you're saying about all of the extra stuff that goes into it now. It's the same with this.
Really? Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I know that it's just three men chatting on a video call right now, but we had to put all of this stuff together, and it doesn't happen by accident. It's then I'm reaching out to you just purely by chance that you said yes to coming on, and then obviously writing the questions and getting everyone's time. It's a lot. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of work that Jez does behind the scenes that people probably don't realize. And so, hats off to you, Jez. You do a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah,
and it's funny actually, George. You just mentioned the live event. It is actually something that not we've probably ever taken seriously, but we thought, oh, should we just do something at the Playhouse next year? See how many people turn up.
Oh, you should do that. That'd be brilliant. I'd come up for that. Yeah, great venue for it.
Yeah, well, anywhere in Norwich really, but I think we'd have some old guests on. We'd have some of the local celebs as well. But I think it takes so much organisation to do, and if it fell on its arse, it's for that, isn't it? You're left with a bit of a.
And I feel like that kind of ties into, it's hard enough making those decisions, but when every decision has an expense at the end of it, But at the same time, what we were saying earlier, the way that you wanted to set up this podcast for speaking to like-minded people, imagine if all those people were in one room. That would really be incredible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's we've got our Irish flying canary who contributes to this channel quite a lot, Killian O'Grady. Shout out to Killian. He's actually started doing some musical numbers, hasn't he, Morgan?
Yeah, he's
is Killian responsible for your theme music?
No, that was. Pardon?
I quite like it. I'm a sucker for a synth horn. I'll tell you that.
If you want to take it and run with it and actually do a proper song, please do, because we are looking for a new intro. So
okay,
perhaps you can modify
it. I've got. I mean, October, November looking a bit quiet for me, so maybe I can give you something to do. It's good to have a brief.
There you go. Yeah, it gives you something to do. Yeah, 100%. Morgan, I think it's your turn, sir.
Is it? It's yours. If you were playing, I'll just say it anyway.
So if you were playing,
okay,
certainly after you.
Look at that in unison. That's good.
Yeah, go on. After you. All right, I'll go. Is the last one the random question, by the way?
I don't know actually.
Okay, well, we'll go with it anyway. If you were playing a VIP NCFC showcase, who would you want to see in the crowd? Players, fans, or friends?
So I get to choose of one of those options of each, or just a multitude of the lot.
A multitude of the lot.
I thought you say like because I think it's a general consensus. Sorry, that the playing in front of your friends is the hardest. I'm sure you'd agree with that, Morgan. Doing gigs, you're up there trying to be as serious as possible, and your mates sort of staring at you, laughing. It's nothing more that's going to put you off your stride than that. I think I'd have to have that. I'd invite the whole team from that first Premier League season, 92 to 93.
Mm-hmm.
Those are still with us. And yeah, well, I mean, this gig that I'm doing actually at the end of the month, 26th, that will be the first time that I brought the band to Norwich. And that will be a real little moment, actually, because, catch up with some old friends and one. And I'd in a way, I might just sort of ask all of them to come along. And then maybe have like a meet and greet afterwards with maybe some of my favourite Norwich fans. I mean,
Nice.
yeah, Norwich players, ex-Norwich players. Current Norwich players, who would I want there? That's a very good question. I mean, I'd like some of the new signings to come so I can understand a bit more about. I feel like I'm still really getting to grips with some of these new players. Actually, there's been so many.
Yeah, I think
which is a huge positive actually. But maybe I just might. I've got to say, I do like the look of Keelan. Is it Kellen Fisher, right back? I actually went to a QPR game. I think it was the first. We had him in the first round of the cup maybe a couple of years ago. Josh Rowe scored in the 96th minute or something. That might have been his debut. I think they signed him from like a non-league team, didn't they? Or something? Was it like Bromley or something? Yeah.
Bromley. And also Kellen Fisher's dad writes music, I think.
Oh, really? Wow. And I remember thinking, God, he's good, that kid, you know. And maybe bring Kellen out. I'm sure he's got some mates. They could come along too. It's just about filling the room in my game, so I'm not too, not too precious about who comes. I mean, Nunes would have been on the list, but he's not. He's barred from any gigs now.
Good. Good.
Yeah. I wouldn't even let him buy the record. That's saying something.
I wouldn't think he'd know how to play it, if I'm honest.
Do you know? There's a funny thing. So a friend of mine told me the story. You know, Jack White, the musician, the American musician. Yeah. On one of his first tours, he played Philadelphia, and there was an incident in Philadelphia, and to this day he hasn't been back to Philadelphia on any tour that he's ever done.
Wow.
In over sort of how many years. And I also didn't know this, but Jack White is a huge baseball fan, and he made it his ambition to visit every single baseball ground in the country.
Oh,
and
wow.
he went to the Philadelphia ground last.
Yeah.
Which has also been in the press recently, because that was you see they call him the Philly Karen. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, where she stole the food, yeah,
exactly, yeah. So I wonder if maybe we could look to implement that in some sort of Ipswich setting, you know. But I don't know. We'll see if the offer's right. As long as Nunes is not there, maybe I'll see. I won't be too biased for the Ipswich. Not everyone in Ipswich can be an Ipswich fan, can they?
True.
You'd like to think
so.
Anyway.
I guess keeping it on the musical front, if NCFC represented an instrument to you, which one would it be and why?
Well, I do think about this. I mean, it kept me up last night a little bit. And I was thinking more of the sort of physicality of things. I was thinking maybe the trombone. It does have this sort of action of sort of constantly going up and down. I mean, the chances of the fine thing to go back up at the moment. But, also, there's a thing in music where, depending on the sort of genre of music you are, that certain instruments become the part of certain circles. It's kind of pop and rock and brief, really. And it's mainly because it's the first to go in certain situations. When budgets get cut, you know, in a horn section, the first thing goes to trombone. And in that world, kind of almost like so I've been told, trumpet is almost kind of king. And there's a lot of things tie into it, like the embouchure, that's what you blow into on a trombone is like that, whereas the trumpet's a lot smaller. Yeah. So there's the trumpets thing there, a lot sort of on a higher plane. So which can tie in. I'm not saying this is tied to our beloved Norwich, but I think there's a charm to the trombone. I think certain characters sort of play it. You know, I can't see Norwich as like a violin or a viola. You know, or like it doesn't have. We're not brash enough to be the drums. To sort of, definitely not a bass player, and no one wants to stand behind a keyboard stand, do they? So I think we're there when we're needed, but when stuff gets really serious, sometimes we cut.
So trombone,
yeah.
I just like the sound.
It's a pretty funky instrument, the trombone. My brother played the trombone when I was growing up, actually. Maybe
Yeah, I used to play the trombone.
Oh, did you really? Oh, God.
Yeah.
I should have said earlier.
Well, I started the trombone, and I found it really difficult to, obviously it's numbered, isn't it? So 1 to 6, and it was really difficult to memorise what numbers were what note. But so I moved across to the trumpet, and I found the free, whatever they're called, the free notes, I guess, and the combination of them to get the notes a lot easier. But I did try. Funny enough, I did try playing the tuba, and it's funny you say about the mouthpiece, but I've got a really small mouth. I've got a mouth like that's arsehole. And
well, I must say, I've been staring at it for the last 55 minutes, Jez. I didn't realise.
Yeah, no, it's tiny, and I found it really difficult to play the tuba because the mouthpiece was so big. It kind of covered half. It was like one of those masks that you wore during COVID.
The thing is, you strike me as a trombone for that sort of type of player. So you say now, I'm not at all surprised.
I played a lot of brass. I used to play the piano. I've got a piano in the other room, so I still occasionally play, but it's not. I come from quite a musical family. My auntie is runs an orchestra in Norwich. She's so no, it's great. They'll keep meaning to go, and what they're playing. Well, it's not called St Andrew's Hall anymore, is it? But it's like where Delaney's used to be, opposite where Delaney's used to be.
Oh, no, it was Cinema City kind of thing.
Yeah, around in that sort of area. But it's Academy St Thomas. So shout out to Academy St Thomas and all of the members of that. But no, it's I mean, honestly, like a friend of mine plays, funny enough, plays the trombone, and he what he does is he either plays in the West End, or he'll go and do, like, if there's a movie or something that requires a trombone player, he goes and steps in and does it. It's amazing. You talk about COVID. I met him through NCT. So when my boy was born, and he was born sort of just to the tail end of COVID, and he was saying that it was really difficult. He had to go and do other stuff like bricklaying and stuff because there weren't any work.
Yeah, I can sympathise with that. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, really tough. Yeah, yeah. And, I love the trombone. I think I've got that sort of, it's fond memories of that, my brother playing it when we were kids, and I was trying to strum on my guitar, and he's there going, doing his thing. And I love James Brown as well, so all that kind of Fred Wesley stuff and everything. But I just thought, there's a charm to that instrument, and I think there's a charm to Norwich as well. I don't know. What would you say? What would you guys say Norwich is an instrument? Quickly, what came to your mind when you wrote that question?
I actually, when I was thinking about it, right, I'm going to come back.
Get the guitar.
No, I know.
This is David Brent. Go and get the guitar. He's actually getting the guitar, isn't he? Whilst he's getting that, then my answer would probably be a flute.
Okay.
Don't know why. It just seems quite like the sound of the flute's quite nice, isn't it? And that's the feeling. I always get a nice warm feeling. Oh my God, what's he got? He's got a vuvuzela. Here we go. No. Well, whoever's listening on audio has just got a horrible shock. So Morgan's, just for our audio listeners, Morgan's just walked out the room, come back with a vuvuzela, and very badly attempts to play it. Do you want me to teach you how to play it live on air?
Yeah.
I mean, that solves our earlier question about what should be played after Norwich score, right? I mean, we should just get you mic'd up.
So South Africa World Cup all over again, isn't it?
This reminds me of
start the Norwich band,
When she's on
I'm actually going to see. I'm actually going to see. So a friend of mine is a lifelong Norwich fan. He moved to Croydon, and he loves his football. So he got a Palace season ticket. And he got it last year. Great. He's a bit of an omen, but he had a great season with them last year, and he absolutely loves it. But he said he couldn't believe it. He got a season ticket like sort of behind the goal, but like right kind of in the centre. It wasn't until he turned up for the first game that he was two seats in front of the band. They got band of phones. So it's pretty loud. So anyway, I'm going to go with him to see them play Millwall in the Cup tomorrow, actually.
Amazing. Yeah, that'd be a good game.
Yeah, it should be quite fun.
Millwall off the back of another London derby. They played Charlton at the weekend, so they've played two of their biggest rivals in the space of 3 days.
Did you see that footage of that Millwall fan in the Charlton way, the Charlton home end? Oh.
Yeah, and then he's trying to get back into the Millwall lot, and they're all fighting him off thinking he's a Charlton fan. Amazing. Wow. Right, I think if I do this last question then, Morgan, I guess it is a question and not the random question.
No.
Okay, cool. So picture the scene. I'm going to read it as is the question because I feel like I need to. Picture the scene. Take that headlining at Carrow Road. GH and PP are supporting. Oh, Georgie Hume and the Pity Party, obviously, are supporting. What's on your rider to prepare for the onslaught of the 5 screaming fans in attendance?
So what are yours, Morgan?
Yeah, of course.
The rider. Technical or hospitality?
Oh, you're getting technical with that response. Hospitality.
Well, there is a vegetarian in the band. So that has to be catered for. You mean more sort of dreamlike, what will be the sort of the ultimate kind of rider? You think? Well, I've got to be honest. Like, I find that some of the music is so difficult to play now that I have to be in a full kind of like a clear state to play it. You know, in the previous times, not that I was particularly wild or anything, but you know, I could get away with enjoying a few beers before it went on. You know, but there's none of that now. So I think some kind of nice locally sourced meal with some Norfolk, probably maybe some Coleman's, kettle chips. You know, just something that sort of reminds me and makes me realise where I am, and that's the thing with like a lot of musicians complain about that, right? When they're touring, going from one place to another, you have really no idea where you are. So, yeah, and I mean, it seems like such a simple thing to say. I'd just like to request a nice sort of warm meal, and maybe just a few snacks. But it's very rare how often that happens. You know, it's kind of this page is dedicated to this kind of stuff. I'm not sure if Jez, your trombone playing friend has said the same thing. You know, the kind of liberties people will take with the phrase "hot meal" is quite incredible. You know, anything that goes in a microwave is technically hot, right? So, I'd say, it's not like a Nina Simone request or anything like that, where it's bottles and bottles of champagne. No, pretty just standard, just something that's gonna, you know, keep us full and entertained and ready for the work ahead.
Amazing.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah.
Right, George, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you a little bit more. It's good luck with everything. I hope the single goes well, and obviously your event at Norwich. If you'd perhaps just like to sort of plug that once more before we
sure.
For the random question of the week.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, so we'll be doing. There's 3 dates that make up a small run tour called the Georgie Hume and the Pity Party Long Weekend, and they are the 25th, Thursday 25th at the Green Note in Camden, Friday the 26th at the Holloway in Norwich, which is just on St Benedict's. And then if there's any Norwich fans listening here in Essex, we're playing at Leon C at the Green Bottle on the Saturday the 27th. And then you can find anything Georgie Hume Pity Party related on Instagram, Facebook, everything, YouTube. And if you'd like to order any of the music to support the project, you can go onto the Bandcamp page, and that's where you're able to pre-order the single. I imagine when this goes out, it'll probably be available, and then you can digitally buy the album as well. But thanks so much for having me on. The PR wheels are turning in the Pity Party world. Let's come on and talk about our beloved Norwich. It's been a real treat. So thanks so much.
Good. No, not at all. Right, yes. Morgan.
It's great seeing you again after all these years.
Yeah,
over to you.
You haven't aged a bit. Okay, right. There's a whole shtick that goes with this, George.
Okay.
Random question of the week.
Oh God, okay.
Okay. So imagine that you're on to cast your mind back to the late 1970s. You're on tour in a band, but you've got to pick a singer from any band of that era or popular band of that era. You're the guitarist, right? You're the guitarist. So you need a singer, a bass player, and a drummer to form the Georgie Hume and the Pity Party All Stars. Who do you pick and why?
Oh, okay. Singer, I'd probably say Marvin Gaye, because I love his voice, and that was just before he started going. If it's late 70s, I mean, it's just before. I can't remember when he moved to Belgium, but that was before stuff started getting really kind of experimental with kind of sexual healing kind of period and everything. And then bass player, drummers. That's kind of put me on the spot a little bit, actually.
Random question of the week.
Yeah. Oh God. Let me think. I mean, I love all that kind of Stax and Motown kind of stuff. You know, I know Motown in the late 70s was a little bit more difficult, but yeah, I don't. If it's particular that it has to be in the late 70s, like those people that I initially would have gone to, I don't think are actually still alive. If he was, it's testimony. But I loved Al Jackson, that was a soul drummer. Okay. Actually, I were around that time. I love I actually like bass players and drummers that come together. So the rhythm section of the Wailers was a personal favourite of mine. Family Man Barrett on bass. You know, that Catch a Fire kind of first era when they played the Old Grey Whistle Test.
Yeah, love that show.
Yeah, if not, you know, I quite like Stuart Copeland of the Police. He would have been very active in the late 70s, right?
Yes, good choice.
I don't think Sting would be down with just being a straight up bass player, so that might not work. There might be a few too many egos in the Pity Party. But yeah, I'd take that. Yeah, I'd say the Wailers rhythm section, Marvin Gaye, and then I'd just try and not have imposter syndrome. If I could do that for an hour every night, I'd probably be getting away with something.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
No, it's been fantastic, George. Thank you for coming on and putting up with our eccentricities. Hopefully, I get to see you on the 26th.
Yes, it'd be great to see you. So when will this go out next week? Will it? Sorry if anyone's it. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely fine. So yeah, we are recording this on the 15th of September for everyone else listening, but this will be going out next Wednesday, the 22nd of September, ahead of your long weekend.
Well, thanks for squeezing me in, and I hope some of your listeners will check out the music. Even if they don't, it's been nice to talk about.
No, absolutely.
Nice.
So for everyone else listening or watching, you can like and subscribe on our channel for more great content. Please do follow us on all of the social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, and X, and TikTok. I always forget TikTok, don't I, Morgan? But we are on TikTok as well. So do log on to TikTok because there's some really good videos of Morgan dancing as well. So that's great to watch. There's not, don't worry. And we are very proudly supported by our partners, Master Seal and Pi Design. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I've been Jez Davies.
I've been Morgan Hewitt.
I've been Georgie Hume. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. That's all for this episode of Beyond the Barclay. Thanks for listening and supporting the podcast. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow, leave a review, and share it with fellow Norwich City fans. We'll be back soon with more insight and discussion from around Carrow Road. Until then, on the Ball City.